Today on Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles. Oh, no, that's The Princess Bride.
Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I do my hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I am your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we have a woman that has been a leader across the technology industry for years. She is currently the head of IEX Cloud, a business within the IEX that is giving startups and emerging fintechs the edge they need with technology that's leveling the playing field. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you Liz Grausam. Liz, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I
am very excited to have you, and I'm going to give a little background here before we talk about you, and that is we have had tons of fintech folks come on the program with all these different emerging technologies and businesses and things, and many of them need a lot of help behind the scenes. So this is going to be really cool and informative. But before we get to that, I want to do a little rewind, Liz. I don't want to go all the way back to the womb. I want to go back to learn a little bit about yourself and understand the work you did before you arrived at IEX.
Sure. So not going back to the womb, but we can go back to graduation from college in 1999, kind of staring down very dynamic trends happening in the tech industry. And I was, starry-eyed, young graduate, wanted to get involved. So out of college, as one does, one becomes an investment banker because, that's really how you fill your soul. But did 9 years on Wall Street as a tech analyst, most of it Goldman Sachs. And that was just a huge learning curve for me, getting to see different businesses, different business models, different sectors within technology, mostly in software and services. I was kind of fascinated with the intersection of mobile and internet and deregulation that was happening, along with how software played just a huge role in how the industry was evolving. So did my tour of duty there, left in 2008 with, lots of other people on Wall Street. And went to one of the companies that I actually covered as an analyst. So I kind of went over the wall and started to learn how the actual sausage was made rather than sitting in my ivory tower telling everybody how I thought the sausage was made as a young and spunky analyst. And that's really, where I started to get operating experience and understanding how companies actually, deliver results as the head of investor relations at Amdocs. And then the head of corporate strategy, which was a huge jumping off point for me and actually getting into kind of the beginning rather than the end. Investor relations in Wall Street is telling you what happened last quarter, and strategy is thinking what happens in the next, the next 5-10 years ahead. It was an incredible management team that I worked with there, a very dynamic company. And I also got to work with Clay Christensen at the Harvard Business School in the context of my role at Amdocs, which is just an incredible experience to learn about, the father of disruption, teaching me and pacing alongside me as we were doing work on strategy projects at Amdocs. So that was really just an incredible place for me to think about what was next. From there, I went to the Gerson Lerman Group, or GLG, which is an expert network based in New York. It was while I was pregnant with my third child that I made that transition. Amdocs is based in Israel, so telecommuting to Tel Aviv was becoming very challenging. And so wanted to work in a New York-based company. And I'd been a client of GLG at Amdocs. All of my shareholders at Amdocs and hedge fund clients at Goldman had used GLG. So again, kind of getting on the inside of a tool that had been really well deployed. Ran their tech practice, also then got introduced to life sciences and industrials, and the interesting learning there for me was just how common the challenges were in developing new products and launching new products, regardless of industry, right? I've been in tech for so long that I kind of understood the process of launching software products and hardware products, but then you can see the commonality in getting a pharmaceutical to market is slightly different time horizon, but similar challenges in doing that. So I was there for just over 6 years and took some time off last summer. And then my buddy from GLG, our CFO at IEX, called me up and said, "Hey, we should talk." And that's how I landed here.
That's awesome. Let's get our listeners up to speed who are not familiar with IEX. Can you give
Sure.
a high level overview of what IEX does and who they serve?
Sure. So IEX is a fascinating company with really, really dynamic founders who are still at the firm. The good news for listeners, you can read all about it because Michael Lewis wrote a book called Flash Boys, which chronicles the founding of the firm and the problems the firm initially set out to solve. The core business is a stock exchange. The founders recognized a challenge in the stock exchanges of high frequency traders, arbitrage and trades, and set out to solve that problem and create a stock exchange where that was not going to be available to high frequency trading firms. So just a fascinating story for me in thinking of founders who are just sitting at their desks at RBC and thinking, why does this problem exist? And is there a way to solve it? And is it important to solve it? And they set out and did. And the firm was founded about a decade ago. The exchange has been live since 2016. A lot of regulatory hurdles they had to kind of punch through to get to where they are. But just this great story of, really having that the pebble in your shoe and saying, I got to get it out. I got to get it out. And they figured it out. So kudos to them. It's an incredible founding story. But what, really drew me to IEX is they haven't lost the founders mentality, right? Yeah. Again, going back to working with Clay at Amdocs, there's a lot of similarities here. You say, okay, we've launched this great thing. It's this incredible stock exchange. We've achieved, substantial market share, but we're not done. What are we going to do next? What's the next pebble? What's the next shoe? And now you see a business that has, 5 different operating units, looking at the opportunities in digital assets now from an exchange vantage point, from a messaging vantage point. We have an operating unit called Switch, which is trying to solve problems in cloud networks and how to bridge those gaps because our exchange couldn't move good portions of our infrastructure into the cloud. So again, another problem we faced as a customer of cloud technologies is we wanted to set out to solve it. And then IEX Cloud, which is the business unit that I'm in charge of now, which is setting out to solve a different problem, a different set of problems. A couple of problems already in its 4-year history, and that's what I'm doing with my time.
Well, and that's awesome. And I think what's really great is it sounds like it's a culture of problem solvers, which is excellent. And you've had a career of understanding a whole breadth of different. I loved how you did it in reverse, where you see how the results are done afterwards, having worked on Wall Street and worked all the way back to the beginning of how you operate and get this thing put together. And this is focusing on the biggest growing area in the merger of 2 areas together, which fintech is just exploded over the last 5 years. I'd say over the last 10 years, it's even gone through the roof in so many different directions that everybody's trying to dibble and dabble with it. Tell us about this group that you run at IEX Cloud and the biggest problem that you're solving by you created a product that's going to help those within it. That's how to kick things off here.
Sure. So, IEX Cloud was born out of the exchange. The exchange had been offering its market data through an API to customers for free for a long time. And the lead designer of the exchange, the CTO of IEX Cloud, Josh Blackburn, pitched internally to commercialize that opportunity and help bring financial data and access to financial data, the exchange data, plus other financial data to a broader audience at a reasonable price. And so the original incarnation of IEX Cloud was really focused on bringing data to the masses, right? Making it affordable to access data that is very hard to reach. Financial data is large, it moves fast, it's up to a lot of interpretation, depending on what type of data you're talking about. And it's very expensive in most cases to access. So IEX Cloud, launched in early 2019. We grew an audience very, very quickly of both businesses, fintechs who are trying to build with financial data, and also hobbyists, both developers and investors who wanted access to data, technologically savvy folks because we were delivering it through an API. But we set out to level the playing field a bit in access to data. What we recognized both in building that business, but also in talking to our customers, that the needs extended beyond just access to data. And those data needs evolved over time, grew over time, and we couldn't serve all of the data requirements in the industry. That was an untenable business model and solution for us, acquire all data and deliver it. So how do we help our customers onboard additional data, work with our data, build with our data, merge different types of data sets together such that they interoperate, and just make it super, super easy to build quickly, both with financial data and other types of data, particularly time series data, which has unique attributes and challenges, and help them with the infrastructure to do that. And it's because we had that challenge. We launched in 2019. We're on our third generation of database technologies already in 2022, just to deliver our data business. And so we lived through that process of having to integrate multiple tools, make database decisions to optimize how to store the data, such as performance out to a web app. And all of these considerations just take an enormous amount of time, enormous amount of manpower, real deep technical knowledge of understanding both the nature of the data and the nature of the container that holds the data in order to be able to really perform at web scale. So with concurrent users at latency that you expect on a web app, I can wait for 10 minutes for my Tableau dashboard to load. And that's like kind of okay. It's not the best user experience, but I can kind of wait to look at my financials as an internal operator. I'm not going to wait 10 minutes for a stock quote to load on my iPhone, right? So the expectations are very different. So as we started to research this need with our customers, was it just us? Was it just IEX Cloud? Were we the only people experiencing this pain? No, the answer is most of our customers, certainly in the fintech segment, were struggling with building their ingestion pipelines, optimizing their data infrastructure for performance, moving from the free first version of infrastructure to, oh no, I have paying customers now, and this infrastructure needs to be better and perform better, and going through that evolution over time. So we built Apperate, which we launched in August, as a solution to that data infrastructure problem. And that problem costs, months, if not years in development. It costs hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in developer salaries and time, and really helps startups fast forward through that infrastructure build.
Yeah, so let's go through this. And by the way, we're recording this in September 22. This just came out, Apperate. Love the name, by the way.
Thank you.
Share specifically how developers and a lot of these startup fintech players could integrate and utilize Apperate. Where is it saving them the time, and what is it specifically helping to help launch them so that they don't have to build everything again from scratch?
Yeah, so what we really want to deliver to our customers, whether that's the end developer who's sitting in their seat tapping keys all day long, or the co-founders of a startup who've put their heart, souls, potentially life savings, and certainly reputations on the line to build things. We want them building the product that differentiates them most in market, the features, the go-to-market plan, the marketing, to get them out in the world and delivering to their end customers what it is that makes them unique. We want to alleviate them from doing the data pipeline ingestions and building all of that from scratch, going through a 6 to 12 month database selection process, and then 6 months into implementing it, realizing they probably didn't pick the right technology to optimize for their specific use case, and then having to revisit it. It's happened to us. So we know this pain. Having to build a data engineering team, find specialized talent that's associated with these types of builds, have a deep understanding of financial data. Financial data comes in many shapes and sizes from many different sources. And depending on where you get it from, even the identifiers, as simple as what one data provider calls Apple's stock and the ticker they use for it versus another data provider. These are all things that are huge constraints. And so we want Apperate to take away all of that headache, right? All of the associated infrastructure build to help the developer move faster, just quite simply. Not have those roadblocks of having to think about the interoperability of data or why the infrastructure isn't performant. So we really want developers to go fast and build great things, right? Reach their highest potential. Never have I ever seen a developer called out for like building a beautiful data pipeline, but surely the guy or gal who built the feature that drove acquisition and ultimately led a company to great success is celebrated. So we want that developer to be celebrated for what brings success to the company. And for the founder, now sitting in a bit of that seat now at IEX, I want to eliminate the anxiety, the cost, staring down the pike of hiring talent that may or may not be available in market. Anybody who's hiring engineers these days knows how hard that process is. And really help them run efficiently, right? This is a capital efficiency.
So this is great. Here's what I'm drawing so many parallels, not only to what IEX has done from its inception, but also what you've done from your inception as well. Not only are we solving a problem, but we're really getting to the heart of helping to make things a little bit more efficient. To someone who came from a world of analysts, how are companies being more profitable and understanding what they're doing inside is one piece. IEX changing an entire marketplace and an exchange and the way that they've developed something in there. This is, though, doing something really important because this is providing tools for developers. And for those, if you're able to minimize the cost, reduce the time frame for all of these companies to come to market in whatever space they're playing in fintech, and that's going to lead to my next question. This is a huge win because you're creating something that is just not only a time saver, but an efficiency saver that's been proven. And I'm imagining, and this is my next part, integrates with many different technologies and platforms that they have, right? That's one of the key advantages that you bring to market.
Yeah, and you're hitting on the point, right? We really want to help our customers get to market faster. And this is an impediment to doing that. It just takes time. It takes money. It takes time, depending on which seat you're in. You care, right. You care about each of those equally or one more than the other. But those are the critical months, quarters, years of a startup's life. This is when you're moving from, the tin cup with angel investors to getting your seed round to then, hopefully by the grace of God, raising your Series A or Series B. These are really tense moments, right? Yeah. These are moments when every hire matters. This is a moment when every dollar you spend matters and has to drive an outcome. And so if we can help them, again, efficiently allocate the capital to the places that are going to make them best, make them the most unique, make their product sing in market, figure out who to sell it to, figure out their ideal customer profile, figure out their marketing channel mix, whatever it is. There's tons of things you have to do as a startup founder to reach success. If we can take one of those things off the plate, a big one in our opinion, right? Again, millions of dollars spent on this in back-end infrastructure. If we can take that one thing off the worry list, one thing off the to-do list of the developer to just help them move quickly and bring great things to market. Like that's what we're trying. That's what motivates me. That's what motivates our team to get this right and help fintechs.
I get the technical piece and the benefit that's going to help on the cost saving piece. So there's a great value story. Let's talk about the marketing story of this on your hat, on the hat that you're wearing, which is to get this to market into the hands of the people that you want to get this into. Sometimes they say you could have a very wide net, you can cover everything. Is there a specific lane that you're going to be able to catch more fish, so to speak, and go after that's the people that will benefit the most, fastest, and the quickest within this very large universe of new fintech opportunities? Is there one or are a few lanes that are a better target than others?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer in tight segmentation, particularly when you're coming out of the gates. I do believe Apperate, look out 5 years, 10 years, can solve a lot of problems beyond our initial segments. And we hope to keep expanding the value proposition. But for now, we have a great user base, and thank you to anybody listening that is an IEX Cloud user. We have a lot of you. You're very enthusiastic, and we really appreciate all of your feedback and also helping us get Apperate launched. But when we think about the sweetest spot, the bullseye of our segmentation, I think of seed stage, Series A, Series B startups, working and building with financial data. So we can call those fintechs. That's the combination of the two. You're a technology startup building an application and working with financial data or any other time series data that is difficult to manage. That's really, really where we're focused, because we feel that's where the pain is the most acute, right? That's where getting to market and blocking and tackling every day matters. And we hope to find motivated founders and motivated developers who want to solve these problems with us and, help us continue with the roadmap and build the product alongside these customers. We're in it with them, right? We're in the same boat. And so it matters a lot, but that's where we're really focused coming out of the gates. And then, as we hopefully succeed, continue to expand the aperture and think about broader segments as we go along.
Just realized the word aperture also applies very well into Apperate within the terminology here. But here's the good question, right? And it's a challenge asking this to you is, look, that this company has spent lots of money, lots of time in helping to come up with a solution. I'm imagining a lot of people are like, is this going to be expensive? I'm a startup. I'm a Series A, folks. I don't want to talk about the specific pricing, but how has that been some of the focus in saying, hey, this is who we're going to go after, even though we know this is the most thirsty company to make sure they get to market so they can get the dollars they need, but obviously are also in that spot where they might have challenge affording some of the stuff that they need?
Yeah, I mean, our operating assumption is your starter customer is going to put it on their personal credit card. So it best not be something that raises eyebrows of the family accountant when they see the credit card statement. But I mean, you can go to our website and see our pricing. It's fully public, but our starting plan, which we call Launch, is $49 a month. So, affordable for most folks who are committed to growing a business. And that's really meant for prototyping, right? Get a mock-up of a prototype, be able to show it to an early set of angel or seed investors. So you have something to show. I always think about it, because I'm the non-technical person in the group. I always think about it like, get the Christmas lights on the app, right? Make sure things are red and green when they're going up and down. Not beep, beep, boop, boops, as I like to say internally. And then everybody stares at me like I have 6 heads, but give them something to show. And so getting that prototyping plan is really important for us, because we want to make sure that we're getting projects early enough in their life cycle that they can start to build with our data, start storing data with us and Apperate and grow with us. And then we have, plans from there on out, called Launch, Grow, and Scale intentionally.
Perfect. And very simple. And I think that this is a great point. These are technical issues. There's a lot of nooks and crannies. And to the listeners who might think that she's not the technical one in the room, she actually probably knows. You're smarter than the average bear, I imagine, Liz. But here's a great point: is the simpler you make this communication and message to your target, the easier it is. And that's bringing a great brand and a product too. So first of all, kudos to you on making sure that's clear, because some people like to be more complicated. Less is more. You look as excited as about this, and listeners who aren't getting a chance to see this, those that can watch a video clip, Liz is really genuinely smiling about this. I want to talk about the passion you have for this. How excited are you about this project in all the things you've been doing throughout your career? This is pretty neat and pretty cool. Yes. Is this what gets you pumped up each day?
Yeah, it's super neat and super cool. I mean, I kind of think about the 3 things that motivate me and have motivated me in my career. And it's, being in a good market, that's important. Rising tides do lift all ships, it turns out. So, having been in tech my whole life, and this being really squarely back in tech and running a software company is very important to me and motivates me and inspires me. And being in this space within tech of data management is, there's a lot of activity in this space. So it feels good to be in a growing market. Having a product or a problem more specifically, right? Building a product that solves the problem, but being motivated by the problem. This problem is very real. And it's, I'm not a developer, so I can't say that I have personally felt the pain of, again, hammering keys to solve this problem, but I felt it as a user.
Yeah.
I felt it as a buyer. right? Back in my strategy days, trying to acquire market research and market data to make decisions. Then at GLG, I mean, sitting on a huge amount of data as a company and figuring out how to best use that asset to deliver a service, I started to get into, understanding how knowledge graphs work. And geez, how can you really understand not only the nature of data, but how data relates to itself, and build more capacity in an organization by utilizing data assets. So the problem really motivates me. And now sitting in the seat of an entrepreneur trying to build this, I feel the pain that we're trying to alleviate, right? It's very personal. I'm hiring. It's hard, right? These skill sets are unique and they're specific. So I really relate to that problem. And the third component that really motivates me is being surrounded by great people. And, not what I prioritize necessarily on day one of my career, but, as I'm hopefully maturing as an executive, the people around me make a huge difference. And IEX as the parent company, and then IEX Cloud as the group, that I work with, the people here are just incredible. Again, they're motivated to solve problems. They have been since inception, and there's a strong moral compass associated with it, and not just solving problems, but solving the right problems. And again, just really innovative group of people who, they're not facing the innovator's dilemma yet, but somehow they still are completely motivated to keep solving additional problems. And one of our core values is, invent and reinvent. It's like a core value assumes we're going to have to rethink, right, and retest assumptions. I think it's part of being managed by former traders. Yeah. Traders, they get new information all day, every day, and change.
It's a very cool cultural mix. I can get it, because you're dealing with a very active market that's always changing, and it's literally, as you just described it very well, bleeping and bopping and beeping all the time, color changing, greens and red, and staying on top of that it is really cool. And to be embedded into a culture that understands that problem solving component is just a cool spot to be in, because when you're solving those problems and then you're helping people solve that problem that you already solved, there's like a sense of like, hey, we feel your pain. I love that. I love asking guests on the program this question. Look, you've been killing it since you started that soulless experience working over at Golan a long time ago, and continue to thrive each and every day, which is why you're on Thrive Loud. But we all have those days when we're not kicking all cylinders and the bleeps and the bops are not necessarily going the way we want to. Liz, when you have trouble thriving, what practice do you seek, or maybe which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
Yeah, I think the process I seek is challenging myself on those three things I just talked about. This is a market I want to be in. This is a problem I still want to solve. And am I surrounded by the people that I believe I can solve the problem with? And whenever I've really hit a low point, and there have been many, and anybody who says otherwise is full of it. But when I've hit a low point, it's usually one of those three things that has gone wrong. I've become bored with the problem. That has happened to me, right? Yeah. It's kind of like I've solved it as much as I know how to solve it, and now I need to give it to somebody else because I'm not really contributing to solving the problem anymore, and somebody else needs to get excited about it, and it's time to move on. That's certainly happened to me. You find yourselves with the wrong people at certain points in time, and they're not bad people or the wrong people for everybody. They're just not the people that help you reach your fullest potential. And so sometimes that needs to change. But the market, again, I've been in tech for most of my life. So that's always been a ballast for me, but not every part of tech is booming in every point in time. And there's been some, I learned a lot in 2001, starry-eyed, fresh out of college. And I'm like, oh, it can all end. It can all end on
it certainly can.
One day.
You might have to sell all of your shares to pay your taxes. It can happen.
It can happen. It absolutely can.
Let's do the admin part of the show here, Liz. Share with the listeners all the places people can learn about IEX Cloud, where they can learn about Apperate. We'll put everything in the show notes and links and all that stuff, but it gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
Sure. We are at iexcloud.io. That's our main site. Apperate is prominently featured there, so please go take a look. You can find me at liz.grausam@iexcloud.io, and I would love to hear from listeners, questions on Apperate. And we're on Twitter, so you can find both IEX Group and IEX Cloud there, and we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Liz, are you ready to go down Fun Street here on Thrive Loud?
Let's do it.
She's very excited. She's also excited because she's holding something in the back of her pocket, which she's going to throw back at me at one point or another, listeners. So that'll be worth waiting for. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to ask you a simple question to kick things off here. I'm gonna relate it to either a streaming show or a movie. Do you have a favorite one that maybe you love to watch or maybe even rewatch?
So I'll give you a show.
Okay.
My husband and I have watched Cheers all the way through twice.
Wow.
Since we got married. 14 years of wedded bliss, or 13 years of wedded, I don't even know. It's been a while. But yeah, Cheers takes a long time to watch. It was on for like
that's a lot years. How can you even can you access Cheers? Like, is it streaming somewhere now?
I don't know where right now, but
yes,
it has been in the past. He even gave me a cameo from George Wendt, Norm of Cheers, as a Christmas gift one year. So
that's awesome.
That is definitely a treasure on the TV side. I think The Princess Bride probably Spikes is one of my favorite movie.
It's still my favorite Cheers episode is was Frasier running around the bar with scissors. It's still one of my favorite. I'm going to do something absolutely ludicrous and crazy, and wanted Lilith to show it, and he started running with scissors. Still can't get enough of it. It's
a very good show. It's a very good show.
So good, and some great actors. I mean, so many of them for so many years. All right, I'm going to do the speed round here, Liz. Here's how it works. I'm going to ask you something. I want the first thing that comes to your mind. These are things that lift you up, that motivate you, that make you feel good, that basically make you thrive. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Of late, a song that you've been listening to, or maybe one that pumps you up.
Good as Hell by Lizzo.
Uh-huh. Favorite food that is not a dessert?
Mapo tofu.
Oh, interesting. That was
very
never had that. Favorite dessert?
Oh, I'm not a sweets person. Probably like a fresh baked chocolate chip cookie.
Ooh, that works well. I like it. Are you like a regular chocolate chip cookie or like a chocolate chip cookie?
No, regular chocolate chip.
Chocolate chip. Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. An activity you wish you did more of?
Exercise.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Telling my children to brush their teeth. Every night.
If I could snap my fingers and Liz can be anywhere in the world, where is she?
Paris.
Have you been?
Yes.
What do you like most about Paris?
Everywhere is beautiful.
Everywhere is beautiful. Right. Before we wrap up this show here, I understand Liz has some ammo on me, or has a question to flip the script here. So guest becomes host becomes guest.
I do. We have a mutual friend, a little birdie. She, I think, was an early guest for you on this very show.
She actually, we will give her credit at this moment. This is Billy Howard. Billy Howard was she's episode number 1. We had 3 launch, but she was number 1. She's the OG of Thrive Loud.
The OG, and I believe you guys have known each other for quite a few
Too
years.
long to announce the quantitative years, but yes.
Well, she told me about a specific back to chocolate. Let's bring it back to chocolate chip cookies. We were just there.
Oh no,
we were just there. maybe that was intentional. She told me that you have an unusual obsession with Freihoffers cookies.
Yes. Oh my goodness, this is awesome.
Dating back to maybe a summer camp experience.
Yeah, no, this is so Billy and I did go to camp together, and there was this is up in the Catskills and in the Northeast. I don't want to say it's a very common thing that you find in New York City as much. It's more in like kind of New England or upstate New York or Pennsylvania's areas around that. It's Freihofer's chocolate chip cookies, and when we were younger, it was just like these little, very small size chocolate chip cookies. They're almost like the Entenmann's ones, if you've ever had Entenmann's, but Freihofer arguably is better, obviously. Our counselors, or when they would go out, they would bring these cookies back, or we would look for these cookies, and we were quite obsessed with them. So much was also the director of our camp, who the late great Jerry Parker, who had one of the more interesting ways of speaking. He had a unique way of talking, and Freihofers would be like the gift. And just by saying it, I would get excited. So Jerry, and I haven't done this imitation in a while, he would be like, there will be boxes of Freihofers for everybody to have at any time you'd want. Lou, would you like one? Freihofer for you. So grew up with that and big fan.
She indicated he would also call you each out like by your birth year and
yes, yeah,
where
you would get
you
a
were born.
birthday presents. He would just, remember the old Delaney cards? I don't know if you knew this growing up. If you were a teacher in the New York City school system, this is where this came from. That's where he had worked for the New York Board of Ed. They would give you that book with where the classroom was, and each kid would have a card, and that's how you used to mark your attendance and whether they're in or out. And the book was set up where the kids were sitting in the rows in the class. Obviously, maybe not applicable because we were all rowed back then. So that's how he would do it. He would know every kid in every bunk, and he would call them out by their birthdays. And Freihofers would often be the birthday present. So yeah, I'm a big fan.
There we go. Chocolate chip cookies. Bringing us together, Lou. Bringing us together.
You're getting me hungry, and I'm on a Freihofer hunt. That's what we're gonna do. Well, Liz Grausam, so excited to have you on the program. Everybody, Apperate. Check out the links for IEX Cloud. We will put all the links in the show notes. Such a pleasure having you on the program. Success for this platform. Success for everything you're doing in IEX Cloud. And thank you for coming on Drive Loud.
Thank you so much, Lou. This is great.
This is awesome. And to all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Baby, how you feeling?
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.